welcome to Missing Link for another blog. Today, we have Kim here, who is a client and suffering from knee pain. And the reason I decided to talk about knee pain today is because over the past 3 weeks, I've been seeing a lot of knee pain with people out there trying to get back to exercise, running, going to boot camps, going to the gyms, and they're suffering from the same common knee pain. So today I want to discuss how to treat this knee pain, or actually how not to treat this knee pain. It might sound a little weird, but everyone is focusing on the knee when the actual problem is elsewhere. So Kim's going to explain to us today what is really bothering you. So Kim, what is your problem?
My knee is super tender on the inside. Whenever it touches the floor, it's sore. I basically can't squat back. And also when I go down to lunge, this is about as far as I'm able to get right now. So there's lots of knee tightness in the front, also pulling in the back, and I can feel it kind of going up in my thigh, a little bit in my hip.
Okay, so the next step is I'm going to show you what I do as a physical therapist to assess this injury and then solve the problem. And in one session, we're going to get her feeling much better and ready to exercise. So prior to this, I've already done somewhat of an assessment on Kim. And what shoots out at me is how restricted her hip mobility is. Why is this significant? Well, if her hip mobility is restricted here and also restricted here, then we have increased stress being placed on the outside part of the knee. A lot of people call this runner's knee. What that does is it causes the kneecap to become stiff and causing irritation to the outside part of the knee. So a lot of people feel the pain here. But some people might feel it in the hip as well. So how do we fix this? Well, we're going to treat Kim's hip in order to relieve pressure on the knee. So we're going to perform the treatment off camera because she doesn't want her tush on the camera, because this is a PG video and blog, and then we'll reassess after. So, when we went off camera just now, we treated Kim's hip and low back. We treated low back in order to release the stress, release the tension in the hip and the lower leg. I don't want to get too complicated, but that's what we did. And from that one treatment, from working on the tissue, we now see that we have about a 20-degree increase in hip mobility, and we have increased knee movement as well, patella movement, kneecap movement. Kim's gonna go ahead, stand up, and go into the painful position she had before, and she'll tell me how it feels.
Wow, that's crazy. No pain.
Okay?
That's
So
crazy.
this is not the end of the story. Okay? Just because she doesn't have pain doesn't mean that we don't continue treatment. There's a reason that she's having pain, and it's because of possible hip and core stability issues. The next phase of this blog, we're going to show you some beginner exercises to start with when you have a problem like this. All right, so now we're going to talk about the exercise portion for treating this knee pain. We're going to work on increasing the hip mobility. We're going to work on also increasing the hip stability so Kim can go back to her jumping, running, and other activities, other dynamic activities. So first we have Kim here on the foam roller, and she's going to self-massage the hip muscles. And this is going to be done very slowly, really focus on those areas that are really sore. Okay? And this, you can do this for as long as you can tolerate. Then Kim is going to roll onto her front, and she's going to start massaging, foam rolling the quads. Same thing, we're working on the quads. We're working on increasing the length of the quads in order to take stress off of the knee as well, because they have a direct connection. All right. Then after foam rolling, we follow it up with a stretch. So Kim's gonna lie on her back, and there's various ways to stretch these muscles and foam roll these muscles. And she's going to take the injured leg and she's going to pull it over to the opposite shoulder where she feels a stretch in the hip. Or she can do a figure 4 stretch where she bends the knee here and crosses over here and pulls into her leg as well. Okay, so you can do a figure 4 stretch or pulling it to the opposite shoulder. Then Kim's going to lie on her left side, and she's going to take the top leg and pull it towards her buttocks, and then she's going to bring this knee towards her chest to protect her back. And she's working on stretching the hip flexors and the quad is a hip flexor too, so, okay? Good. Then she's gonna go onto that knee, if it's not painful, and she's going to stretch the hip flexor by rolling that hip forward, a small motion, perfect. And she's gonna stretch that hip flexor. And you'll hold these stretches predominantly, the longer you hold it, the better. But you don't want to be super aggressive with the stretch. Nice low load stretch. So don't be super aggressive, because aggressive stretch is a muscle pull. And then for the stability portion, Kim's going to stay right here, and she's going to work on stabilizing herself in this position, half kneel position, working on her hip stability and not using her hip flexors. Okay, this half kneel position, and you can do a lot of variations to this half kneeling position, but as a beginner, you start here in this half kneeling position. You can do a lot of arm movements and so on. Then for the last exercise we're going to show you today, we're going to do a standing single leg deadlift, we'll call it, okay? Where she's going to stand on the affected leg, slight bend in the knee, we don't want to hyperextend it. The goal here is, again, to stabilize the hip, core, and hamstrings. And she'll come back to a standing position again. Okay? And so we expect that when Kim perfects all of these exercises, she has good mobility and stability, her knee pain should be resolved. Okay, so I hope this was helpful blog for you guys this week, and we hope to see you again. Have a great weekend.